So I'm here in the studio. My name is Alex. I'm here from Reporterfy Media. I'm here with Patrick Lancaster. Patrick, can you tell us what's going on where you are?
Well, right now I'm in the center of Yerevan, Armenia, and right now I'm marching with a group of protesters who are one of the many groups that is out through the city of Yerevan and in all over the country, as far as we're able to tell at this point. And there's been some clashes between the police and the protesters, and some arrests made of the protest organizers. Now, these protests today are in response to the passing of the deadline that the opposition and protesters gave the prime minister to resign by 12 o'clock today. And he did not resign. So now, as they promised, massive amounts of people through the country and the city are protesting somewhat peacefully. Here, there's probably a few hundred right now. As we've walked through the center, it's gone up and down, anywhere from somewhere around 1,000 to a few hundred, just in this particular group. But as we understand, there's many groups through the city, and we can see a very big police presence here, but not a lot of conflict between the police and protesters. Some we witnessed several people getting arrested, and that's all going to be in my full report on this protest, going to be coming out on the channel later this evening. But I wanted to jump live with everybody to give them
sure. And I've got some questions. I've got some questions for you, Patrick. I mean, if this is not the will of the people, will the people actually revolt against the current government if they're not backing down there? Are we going to plunge deeper into conflict here?
Well, I think it's all kind of in the prime minister's hands. And even just being here for about 10 days in this city in particular, it's hard for me to kind of understand what the real divide is as far as percentages. It seems the majority of the people are against the current leadership, but honestly, we're learning a lot here, and we've got a lot farther to go. This is a good long project we're doing. So. We've got a lot to go.
Do you feel a lot of the people that are out there now, or a lot of the people that have been moved out of the area, has been told to leave certain pockets of their own land, their own sovereign land that they have? Is that the people that have lost businesses, have lost, even family? Is that who you're getting out there?
Well, there is that. It's some of the soldiers that fought as well. Just the other day during the protest, after I went live, we went live at the protest. Right. I met one of the soldiers that I had met on the front line in Artsakh during the war. And he was totally against the peace deal and the current government. Okay. And right now behind me, the people are chanting, well, they were chanting Nikol, which is for Nikol Pashinyan, that he's a traitor. They're saying Nikol the traitor, Nikol the traitor.
So, Patrick, if you could just hold tight for a minute, I'm just going to give some of the new viewers a rundown on what we're doing here. My name's Alex. I'm from Reporterfy Media. I know Patrick quite well. We've traveled to certain zones in the world here. Some of them are contested zones or unrecognized countries together. So what I do here is I man the command and behind the stage here and try to get Patrick to stream as best as possible. Now, just to let you know, if you're reading some of the live chats in the YouTube's live chats and some languages that you don't recognize, if you're using a Chrome browser, just right-click on your Chrome browser and hit translate, and you'll be able to understand what everyone is saying. It will translate all the languages there in the side box. I just want to welcome back the state of Korma. Thanks. It's nice to see you again back here in the room. Bill, thank you for coming back. And Leonid, thank you for dropping in. We're going to go back to you, and I will try, everybody, to relay some of your questions to Patrick. So if you have some of your questions for Patrick, just leave them in the chat box, and I'll relay them to you. Okay, we're going back to you, Patrick.
Okay. And basically what's been happening is these groups have been walking through the streets of Yerevan and somewhat peacefully blocking traffic at certain intersections, and that's where some of the the unrest and conflict has started with the police when that's happened. But for the most part, not much conflict, and everything's done more or less peacefully. But there have been several arrests.
Can you tell us what they're chanting?
Yeah, they're chanting Nicole the traitor, and sometimes they something about Nicole needs to leave, and things like this. Just everything against the current prime minister. Now, I guess we can.
We're getting some questions in from the viewers. People actually saying, is this going to be enough to shake the current regime? I'm seeing other comments like, Nicole needs to go now. We're seeing other comments like, will Armenia plunge into civil war? This is the type of stuff that the questions that your viewers have for you right now, Patrick.
Well, the consensus that I'm getting here is that people believe after they push hard enough, he is going to either declare a new election or two, just straight up resign. And those are the options right now. I would hope that it doesn't develop into something very dangerous and hard for the country, because the people here have already been through a lot, losing Artsakh, or the majority of it.
Dave has come on to the chat. Dave Donovan has come on and said Nicole hasn't done anything wrong. These protests are organized by his opposition.
Well, I mean, these protesters are part of his opposition, for sure, because there's a lot of oppositions, as it seems. I'm trying to say completely neutral as far as this, because I don't know enough about the political situation here.
Right,
but
right.
What I can tell you is, it seems the majority of the people here are against him, and. I mean, just this week, we've seen thousands and thousands and thousands protesting and demanding that he resigns.
It would also be interesting to see, what type, of course, everyone's protesting for certain reasons, but, have some of these people lost their homes? Have some of these people lost their businesses? Have some of these people had somebody that has died in this current conflict? It'd be interesting if we could find out, what, I know, as we were saying earlier, a lot of them want to have the government, basically resign, but it'd be interesting if you could try to see what,
Well, I can tell you the biggest opinion that I get from the protesters is that they say this whole peace deal with Artsakh was treason, as they call it. The peace deal between Armenia, Russia, and Azerbaijan, which basically gave up like 80% of the Republic of Artsakh. And many of the people had to leave. Now, but this isn't the only thing that I'm told they're against him for. They said this is more of the needle that broke the camel's back.
Right.
And now the people seem to be done with it. And honestly, I've been, I made it a point, made a kind of post on my channel and on my social media, because I've been getting some backlash saying, oh, you're supporting the opposition and all this. No, I'm just reporting.
Anyone, Patrick.
Yeah, I'm
You're
just
never going to
reporting what I
anyone.
see. I'm reporting what I see, and the fact is, I can't find anyone that's pro Pashinyan. I mean, when you talk to the average person on the streets, they're against it. Here, as we've been marching, there's been a couple of people that have kind of balked at the protest here. But I'd say in the last 2.5 hours that I've been marching with these protesters, I think we've had 3 people voice an opposition to these protesters.
Is there any talk about the current military? Are they going to try to regroup? Is there anyone in command that you've talked to, or tried to get into command that you've talked to, that they're, since it was quite a defeat, is there any coordination to rebuild the army? I mean, It's very difficult.
They say that the majority of the equipment has been destroyed or taken by Azerbaijan. So everybody knows that there's a long way to go. But in some of the equipment, that's another point as far as the military goes. Another big thing that I hear from the protesters is, why didn't they use their stockpile of ballistic missiles, and why didn't they use certain anti-air equipment to protect Artsakh and to try to win this war? Because what they're telling me is that Pashinyan, he came out when the war started and said, I'm going to fight this with you till the end, even if it makes me putting my life at risk. And then he signed a capitulation deal, and that's why the people are so upset, is because they sent their children to war on his word, children and fathers. There's going to be so many families without any type of breadwinner, any male child or father, because of this war.
Another thing that I want to point out is that, a lot of people are commenting on the size of protests. I mean, you and I have seen over the last few years here that these protests start quite quiet. And then as they start to gain momentum and build momentum, they can be changing. They can be, they can have a lot of impact. So right now we're not seeing a massive protest at this time, but I tell you, some of the stuff that Patrick and I've been following over the last few years, they start like this.
Yeah, they sure do. And it seems like we might actually be coming across another group, possibly, of protesters, or maybe not, maybe just a couple people walking. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell what exactly is going to happen.
We got another question from Christian. Question for Patrick. How did Armenia manage to overlook the air superiority of Azerbaijan by so much?
Say again?
The question is how did Armenia manage to overlook the air superiority of Azerbaijan by so much?
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily they overlooked it, but I mean, the Azerbaijan with their oil and their money, they had time to prepare themselves for this war. I mean, they had the equipment, they had the drones, they had the aircraft, and I mean, and they really, I mean, we're knocking out the Armenian military. And now the thing is, even I thought when I left the war zone that, they were losing territory so fast that it was a matter of time before everything was gone if he wouldn't have signed the deal. But as talking to more people and doing some more research, we find that the Kelbajar region, which is one of the territories that was just flat out given to Azerbaijan, was very strategically protected by mountains and would have been almost impossible for the Azerbaijan military to take.
Right, and
I think they're going to try to close this road here in front of us. That's what they've been doing. So maybe something will be kicking off here. We'll have to see.
Patrick, where's Russia's involvement in all of this?
Well, Russia was basically the middleman and the coordinator of the peace deal that gave up the majority of Artsakh, the conflicted zone of the war. So we'll have to see.
Well, we got this moment. I just want to thank you for going live here, Patrick.
We have over
130 people watching. And just to let you guys know, and I think most of you know, that Patrick is completely, he's an independent crowdfunded journalist. He's not paid by any of the mainstream media. Your support goes a long way to help. He self-finances all these missions, I'll call them. You can click the link below in his, you can see in our I guess our overview of this live stream. We don't have much time to go into detail on these live streams because we have to go live right away.
Yeah. I'm gonna switch over the camera.
Sure. Okay, we're here right now. I'm in the studio, and we're just going to let this run, Patrick. It's better that we just let this run and people watch what's going on.
Sounds good. And we can see just the massive amounts of police here as well. Do you speak English? Yes. Can you please? No? Okay.
I think he does. When they answer like that, they do. I just start talking to her in English anyway. See what happens.
Well, that's kind of the thing is a lot of them don't really like doing the interview if they're in the protest because I don't know how true it is, but I've well, on the last live stream we heard how the fear of retaliation from the government is what the main reason people are telling me they don't want to do interviews. But
okay, so I'll let you roll with the camera for a minute, Patrick.
Alrighty, sounds good. Well, I hear we're getting to another intersection. And we'll see if they'll try to close this one as well for the few minutes, just to kind of make somewhat of a peaceful point. Again, just Nico is a traitor. To the Prime Minister is a traitor.
Okay, Patrick, I'm gonna mute your mic for a moment, okay? So just to let you guys know, and as we have some people into the live chat here, Murad, I'm just going to answer some of your questions. You have the same question every time you come in here, and you are allegedly saying that he has one-sided information. That's Patrick. Patrick has tried to go across, and he was denied access. So it's very difficult when that happens, when you're a journalist in such conflicts, to go across to the other side and actually get that other point of view. So if you want to continue to spam the chat box, I'm going to have to put you in timeout. We have got your point. We have explained it in prior live streams that Patrick is an independently funded, crown-funded journalist. He, of course, would like to go and see the other side to give an opinion, but he has been blocked. Anyone with a stamp from Armenia in there is not allowed across that border as well. So please understand, I'm going to put you in timeout so we can get back to the chatter. Okay, we're back, Patrick.
Okay. Something seems to be developing now. Police are pushing back the protesters from the road. And the protesters are trying to push back. Wait, did I lose you?
Still here, Patrick. I got you.
Okay.
If you lose signal, I'll keep the video going.
I think there's probably an arrest about that.
Say again?
I think there's about to be some arrests going on.
Yeah, it looks that way. If we do lose signal of Patrick, I'm just letting you know. My name's Alex. I'm with Reporterfy Media. Patrick and I are good friends, and we will continue to try to give you coverage here, live coverage of protests and clashes with police.
Okay, it seems to be de-escalating now. One of the protest organizers here is discussing things with the police and seems to be de-escalating the situation.
Okay, thank you.
And unfortunately, I'm not sure what they're saying.
Well, I can pretty much imagine.
Yeah. And so we just saw an embrace between one of the protesters and the police. It's pretty interesting.
Patrick, for the viewers, can you tell them where you currently are right now?
Right now we are in Yerevan, Armenia, and we've joined one of the many protests that have broken out today, because today was the deadline that the protesters who marched on the Armenian Prime Minister's home just days ago, they gave him a deadline to resign by 12 o'clock today. He did not. So now across the country and across the city, there are these many protests going on, and some conflicts have broken out between the police and the protesters. Some organizers have been arrested, and some normal protesters. We saw that earlier, and that'll be in my full report. But for the most part, there's not too much conflicts going between the police and the people. But we'll, of course, continue. We'll be continuing to cover the situation.
Patrick, quick question. Is there anywhere in the center of town where the protesters have a full-time kind of a mini headquarters or a setup, like a central point like they had in Maidan in the Ukraine, in Kiev? Is there anything like that?
There is some people that posted up after the war, but not many. There was some people doing a hunger strike, and they were staying 24 hours in front of the Prime Minister's office in the main administration building.
Right. It looks like a police van has arrived there.
Yeah, there's a police vehicle here, but actually it kind of seems like now let me change my camera. It seems like the protest, excuse me, my ears come out. Seems like the protest has now come to an end, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. maybe let's try to get a few
Sure.
a few words in from here. Seems like
There's a girl with a flag there. She was pretty vocal. Do you see her? I think she just moved away from you.
Yeah, she's here. Hold on 1 second. She's actually talking to some other people, but.
Thank you guys for joining the coverage here in Yerevan with Patrick Lancaster. My name is Alex with Reporterfy Media, and just assisting Patrick along to try to get the message out. And today's protest clash with the police in Yerevan. It has been up and down all day here, and who knows what's going to happen as we get further into the evening here.
Excuse me, do you speak English? Excuse me, do you speak English?
No, speaking.
Okay. Okay. Try to find some.
Just start talking. They'll be fine.
Well, as we can see here, the police are kind of seems like they're wrapping things up. And yeah, it was a very spirit of the moment thing. Actually, when I first joined the protest, it was right outside my apartment building that I'm staying in here. I just looked out my window and saw some people getting arrested, and I decided to come down and cover the situation.
Well, we do appreciate all the live streams. I know they are basically, I get a call from Patrick and says, get online, get into the studio. And we try to put these together as quickly as possible for you. So he really appreciates it. If you want to help Patrick, first thing you can do is subscribe to the channel. Second is you can either go down to the GoFundMe page, or as well, you can go to donate by PayPal. There are links there as well. So share all the videos. Also, my name is Alex from Reporterfy Media. If you want to see some other content in other nations around the world, you can subscribe to my channel. That link is in the description below as well. And it looks like, Patrick, if you have an interview, great. We can try to chat with someone. If not, we'll wrap it up here. And we really appreciate the coverage that you're giving us. And please stay safe where you are.
Yeah, well, I think we can basically wrap it up a bit at this point.
Okay, just give us an outro, and we'll wrap it up after your outro. Okay.
Okay, sounds good. Well. 1 second.
No problem.
Well, basically, here in Yerevan, Armenia, today, as we said, the protests broke out, and me personally, it's the first time I've seen any type of conflict between the protesters and the police. There's several arrests today, both of normal protesters and event organizers. Now, these protests are in response to the deadline which they gave the prime minister to resign by 12 o'clock today. And as a result of this deadline being passed and him not resigning, there's a small and large protests across the country. And they say this is just the beginning. So we're going to have to monitor the situation, see what happens to the current government of Armenia and the current prime minister, and keep bringing you all the information, bring our viewers all the information we can. And as always, like the live stream and my other videos. And like you said, I'm a totally independent, crowdfunded journalist. I don't get any funding from YouTube. And as people maybe have noticed, there's no super chats available on this chat either. So just the GoFundMe and the links in the description is the only way to support my work.
Well, we appreciate the work that you do, Patrick. Thank you very much. And once again, everybody,
thank you, Alex. Thanks for hosting again.
No problem. All those links are in the description below if you want to support Patrick. Anytime something is kicking off in this area of the world, I guarantee you that Patrick will call me and we will go live. That's your promise. All right. I appreciate that, Patrick. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you, Alex.
And take care, everyone.